from bestbluesguitarlessonsonline.com, and this video will explore what to do if all your guitar solos sound the same. And a lot of people have this. Even if you're playing for years and years, you might experience this. Even people you hear playing on records or in bands, if you go to a live show, you might have noticed that in some bands all the guitar solos sound like the same, like they use all the same licks, like the typical Angus Young type of blues licks, and all their guitar solos basically sound the same. I won't name any names, but there are even in big bands people who do this. And not to say that this is something to avoid. If you like this type of playing, if you like listening to it or playing it yourself, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you like to change this, there are some things you can think about while playing your solos, and so we'll explore these things here in this video. So if you're just practicing like a minor pentatonic going up and down, and you're sick and bored of doing this, most people look at other scales and they start exploring like modal stuff and more complicated stuff. And this is okay, but even with just a basic scale like a minor pentatonic scale, there are a lot of things you can do to make each solo stand out. So if you think of playing on a record and you have 10 songs and you're playing 10 times the same scale, you can have each solo sound original, and it's the way in which you make up the solo and the elements that go in each solo that really make a difference. For example, I will play here with the loop. I recorded just a 12-bar simple blues progression, and I will play just a couple of examples there, and I'll explain them in a minute. So now in this solo I used other elements than in the next solo. So here's solo example 2, and then I will explain why they sound inherently very different to each other. So while I still use the same scale, it sounded very different. But what is behind all this? Well, I used another element in each of the solos. So you can do the same if you're practicing your improvisation. You just start out your soloing with one element, like for instance, in the first solo I used double stops. So this whole solo was based on double stops. So I used double stops, so it's basically using two strings together. And this solo sounded like a double stop solo, so it sounds much more unique in this way because I really placed my bets on this element, the double stops. And in the second solo, for example, I used another element, and you can use your creativity to come up with your own elements. You can use string bands, legato style playing, so the hammer-ons and pull-offs. You can use anything you want, octaves for example, and give a solo with octaves. But in my example, my second example, here I used the open strings. So it's still the A minor pentatonic scale, but I pulled off from certain notes to these open strings here. So it gives also a very unique feel. It sounded very different the second solo. So this is what you can do if you want to get more to more unique sounding solos. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up to the video. This is much appreciated. And also check out the website at bestbluesguitarlessonsonline.com. There's a free guide you can download. It's called How to Play More Advanced Blues Guitar Solos.